Hey guys, so I've been gone for several months now, almost half a year, and that's because I started law school. And I did law school online through Zoom in observing this global pandemic that we're still living in. It is in the new year now, and I have finished my first semester of law school. And I have to say, it is very interesting indeed. Many people would say that law school is exceptionally difficult for the first year students, especially just in person. It's already difficult. There is a huge learning curve. You know, there's nothing you can do in your life that can really prepare you for it, to be honest. So I started online because I had no choice, because nobody has a choice at this point in time. It was difficult. And here are the reasons why it was difficult. I go to a Canadian law school, first of all. The school that I go to is in a different province from where I actually live, and I chose to live in my home province because of financial reasons, and I think it's just easier to get the peer support and the familial support. It was just a better option for me. I don't regret that choice, but it sucks, especially when you are going to school in a different province and you live in a different province and there is a time zone. So if my class is at 8 a.m., I have to be up at 6 a.m. and it sucks. Secondly, with online schooling, you are isolated. You don't have the ability to make friends like you normally would in person. The only way you can make friends is perhaps striking them up on Facebook, and you can't really gauge how people really are. I find for myself that I make friends by being able to observe them, just seeing how they act around other people, their mannerism, and I kind of create my mannerism to approach them in a particular way. What I mean is perhaps somebody speaks in a particular pattern. They speak in a particular way, or they have a particular interest in a particular manner. I often find myself changing the way I speak to better suit their interest. I think that works easier for me because then it allows me to become friends with a wider range of individuals. So that's not something I would say is bad if you have to change your personality with each person that you interact with. No, I'm saying that it's just an easier way to be more sociable. Thirdly, law school online is completely disorganized. As much as the institution would try to, organize the workflow, it's still gonna have its problems. And so with first years who rely on second and third years for guidance and notes and advice and so forth, that's very hard to come by because you feel awkward having to approach them through Facebook. This is your only means of communicating with your peers or making peers or networking. It's just awkward. Fourth, I would say that I have tried to do some networking event, but I have felt that it was very awkward. It's just so difficult to, hop on Zoom, put on a blazer, and then just project this personality, try to sell yourself, and it's just awkward online because then there's this awkward silence that you experience that may not be as exaggerated when it's in person, because at least when it's in person you can just say, oh look, my friend's over there, so I'm just gonna go over there, or I'm just gonna grab something to eat or drink. You can't have that on Zoom. It's like just camera off. Fifth, I spend a lot of time on my computer, more than I would have had when I was in my undergrad. I spend about 15 to 16 hours a day in front of a computer, and that's average, I think. From September to December, I am on my computer hunched over and I'm on Zoom for maybe like 3 or 4 hours of the day, and it's a fatigue. It really is. Just at the end of the day, you're just staring at so much blue screen that you just don't want to do anything else. But then you've got to do your readings, and all of my readings, or at least most of them, are on the computer, and I can't buy textbooks right now because, like I said, my school is in another province. So I'm sitting there reading, PDF documents after PDF documents, and it's hard on your eyes. And there's not much you can do other than just adjust. Now I want to talk about the things I do like about doing law school online, and one of the most grateful things that I would have to say is the bathroom and the fridge. They're just so close. The proximity is just so convenient, and it feels like you never have to move. You can just bring your laptop to the bathroom if you really needed to. I mean, no shame, I've done it before. The kitchen is so close. Like, some days I have this obnoxious schedule where I'm in class from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. and I literally have no time to get up and cook. So I'll just bring my laptop with me, camera off, and then I'll just make something like a piece of toast or something like that just to eat while I go through lecture. But if it's in person, you can't do that. I love the fact that I don't have to try as hard to look as presentable, Like, normally when I was going to school in undergrad, I would, take some effort and time to do my hair. I would make my face a little bit more presentable, so put a little bit of makeup on. It makes me feel good. It's not for everyone, but it just makes me feel like I'm ready to start my day, and it's just part of my routine. But with online schooling, that doesn't exist, or it doesn't have to exist. And I've noticed some of my peers are enthusiastic, putting makeup on, like full face of makeup on every day, drawing in their eyebrows. Like, I don't understand that. I don't know how they can, but for someone who has to be up at 6 or 8 a.m., like for these classes, I literally just roll out of my bedroom and go onto my computer, maybe brush my hair, brush my teeth, and that's it. And that's what my classmates gets to see, this blob of a mess. But that's okay. It's okay. It's a pandemic, and also you're in your first year. It's tough. People are really outgoing. I find that you really can't approach anybody. I think that if you were in person, I feel you might be a little bit intimidated to approach somebody because either you respect them or they look intimidating because you think they're very smart and you think asking them a question you would look stupid. It works the same way with professors, likewise with peers, colleagues, and so forth. Being online, that barrier doesn't exist. Not so much. People are so much more accessible. You can, like I said in my con section, you can simply just, slide into their DMs and just talk about what you want to talk about, and they can choose to reply to you or not. I mean, the worst you get is no response for like hours. But I feel like as an upper year, you kind of have to guide the first years in the ropes of law school, especially in this particular situation. So I would say it is a lot easier to reach out to somebody than you would have otherwise in person. Oh, one thing that I found that was absolutely amazing was being able to write an exam in the comfort of your own home. I have extreme exam anxiety, so I don't know how I managed to make it this far, and let me tell you, I hated the LSAT. I wrote it many times because I couldn't get over the exam anxiety, so that's another story I can talk about. Being able to just roll out of bed, wearing like your pajamas. I listened to music while I wrote my final exam in December, and it was just a lot more relaxing because you're able to have control of your environment. But when you're in person, you have zero control. You literally have anxious students over there, anxious students over here, and they're all anxious, and you're feeling anxious, and they're all saying they're gonna fail, so you feel like you're gonna fail. So it's kind of like that energy that's not needed. And so being able to write your exam at home without distractions, without someone coughing or rustling their paper and freaking out or silently crying, like, it's so much nicer. It really is. I would say this is one of the best things about, being online, is that you have a barrier between you and a really annoying student. And what I mean is, like, when you were an undergrad, like, did you ever feel like you got a grade back, and then you and your group of friends would like start sharing your grades, and then you'd like say, I got an A, I got a B, I got a 95, 94, whatever, or like 67, and someone feels like shit and someone feels like, really happy, and it's just this conglomerate mess where everyone's just like mass sharing their grades to prove their worth. That's not the case online, because, well, there is a physical barrier. You can choose to just simply mute someone. You don't have to engage in conversations about what they got on a particular assignment or a grade. It's solely your own experience, and that's something that I found very helpful being a 1L in a pandemic. I felt that it really helped me concentrate more on myself and my performance and not so much other people's performance. And I think that was one of the best things that I could have gotten out of law school online. Just a couple notes about my overall experience so far. I would say that it's been relatively decent, despite the fact that I hate the online environment. I can't say that it was horrible, because doing something online allowed me to take a lot of control over my education, and should that, students end up going to school online in fall 2021, I want you to know that it's not terrible. It is manageable. But, whether you want it to be manageable is up to you. I think it has some pros, a lot of pros actually, and definitely a lot of cons. But it's only been my first semester, so I'll have to check in at the end of my second semester, and I will let you guys know how it went. But overall, so far, I think I'm doing okay. Alright, thanks for joining me. I will come back. Maybe I'll make a couple more videos on, how I got into law school, how to do well on the LSAT. Trust me, I really know how. And a couple other things. Just a day in the life of a Zoom law student online, Zoom. Yeah, you know what I mean. But until then, I will see you soon.